This show is produced by the Hartman Media Company. For more information and links to all our great podcasts, visit hartmanmedia.com.
Welcome to the American Monetary Association's podcast, where we explore how monetary policy impacts the real lives of real people and the action steps necessary to preserve wealth and enhance one's lifestyle.
It's my pleasure to welcome Nobu Su. He is one of Asia's richest businessmen. He is founder of Nobu Store and chairman and CEO of Today Makes Tomorrow, otherwise known as TMT, great name, which during the 90s was one of the world's most successful shipping companies until the Royal Bank of Scotland sunk it ahead of the 2008 financial crisis. He's author of The Gold Man from the East and the subject of the acclaimed documentary The Outsider, dubbed as the real Wolf of Wall Street because of his appetite for financial revenge. Su has launched a $12 million lawsuit against JP Morgan Chase in a New York federal court. It's just a fascinating story. Nobu, I can't wait to hear more. Welcome. How are you?
Yeah, fine. Thank you.
Good. It's good to have you. So are you currently in the lawsuit with JP Morgan Chase, or at what stage is that?
Yes, still ongoing because the JP Morgan Chase could not give the sufficient information that they didn't store my $5 million. And actually it did because they received money from RBS after we opened the first money of $5 million deposited to the RBS account, dismissed, it's disappeared and sent to the JP Morgan Chase NA, which means American head offices.
Okay, so the issue is an issue of disclosure that when you deposited $5 million, you didn't know where it was going. You thought it would be in the hands of RBS. Apparently, you chose them to be your bank and you liked them. However, JP Morgan ended up with your money. Is that the claim?
Yes. So we asked them, the JP Morgan, to please return money or explain to us where the money went. And so far, they couldn't explain properly until today.
Okay.
And we are waiting for the court decision, and it's so long they haven't made any decision yet.
Oh, yeah, of course. The legal system, the wheels of justice move very, very slowly, as we all know. Sadly, that's the way it is. Did you actually lose any money, or is your claim simply a claim that there's not a proper disclosure going on?
So we started to look at all the data and did actually big data analysis. And we found out that there's another second payment of $250,000 also looks like disappeared to Bank of New York. And then the third payment, the interesting happened when the Northern Rock went burst. The RBS sent us the different SWIFT code to our account, said that the please remit money to their special account, which is the bank's own bank's account. So we end up to remitted over $490 million to the RBS on account, and it does mean that the RBS and JP Morgan use my money for their advantages.
But aren't all banks using your money to their advantage, or are you saying it wouldn't be on demand, like a demand deposit? You couldn't get it back immediately if you needed it because they were doing something else with it, or what is? I'm just trying to understand what is the real damage here.
Okay, so there was actually one-day damage because they borrowed my money, put the money to the New York. And what we believe is called the PDCF scam. This is the special word Hank Paulson decided to install for giving the money to the banks. Mm-hmm. It's called PDCF. So if you bring the money to central bank, you can receive the 25 times money from the central bank. That is how the banking system works. It's called the money creation.
So this is an issue of fractional reserve banking and the Federal Reserve scam more than it's an issue of just these banks. This is just sort of a proxy for what all banks are doing, right?
Yeah, basically, when the 1913, when the Rothschild and all these people get together, created this federal banking system, they said, give money $1 to the bank will lend you 25 times. So that you have 25 times, so you can give the money cheaply lend to the people so that people can enjoy. That's basically commercial banking system.
Right.
Now, what happened in 2008 was Hank Paulson and the team decided to give the money to the banks so that if you bring any the monetary instrument, we give you the money. So that every day they could receive the money so that the whole economy will not went bust. So for that, you need their own money. But the bank didn't have any money, so they used my account and received my $490 million cash as their own equity, and they could create basically $12 billion.
Right. This is how folks, and we've talked about it many times on the show, how in this odd, extremely complex game that almost nobody can figure out, not even experts, how money is lent into existence. And it is absolutely shocking what goes on. It's such a deep subject. It's crazy. But say anything you want about it, Nobu.
Oh, yeah, because at that time, there's no money in the bank. So banks need to create the money. And the accounting and, KPMG, Deloitte, PwC, Ernst Young, all the big fours, they have to tell them that they're doing right. So that each quarter, they have to move the money around and using the people's money, such as our accounts and our cash, to create the billions. And then after that, they're smart enough, the people in Chicago, 1 hour later, or in Singapore, they bring money back in my account and they do the same thing again. So that every day they survive with all these things. And we found out all this scam after the 10 years.
It's truly mind-boggling. You know, there's an old joke, and it would be funny if it wasn't so sad. If you have a gun, you can rob a bank. If you have a bank, you can rob the world.
So that's why I wrote now the second book, and the third book is on the way. Basically, the quantitative easing over the 6 years give the unlimited money was never disclosed in 2008. And if you look at the $90 trillion printed out, it's proved that $770 billion of the top, or the $7 billion given by the Timothy Geithner, was nothing. So now today we have so much debt in all of the people in the world. I don't know how we're going to pay it back.
What does this mean for the future? Is another crash around the corner? Is a debt jubilee around the corner? Or can they just keep playing this game for the next 30, 40, 50, 100 years? Yes.
So Deloitte had audited the Federal Reserve's the system, but it's very vague. So what we are seeing now is now with the new Mr. Powell just raised the interest rate. Now everybody said, no. Now they stop. And so because now all is cleaned up. So as long as the interest rate is moving up and down, we have the issue of the issue. So in my opinion, what the central bankers and all these the famous bankers has no accountability, and they printed 90 or 50 or 70 trillion dollars, they should come back and say, I'm sorry, I printed so much money. And secondly, if that money, of part of it was used to spend for physical policy, such as building the houses for people, or like a yellow vest, people have apartment, or giving them some favor, I think that's what's much better. So we are now seeing the huge social crisis and unfairness in the world, and with this the current France, UK, and all this America, I think this is happening.
So when you talk about the yellow jackets, you're talking about what's going on in France, right?
Yeah, I was there. Yeah. I participated in this yellow jacket as a foreigner. I didn't see any foreigners.
Right.
And I didn't have the yellow jacket, so I wear the gold jacket. But similar. And all of them loves me so much. Mm-hmm. I thought they're going to attack me because I look like rich. But no. Ask me why you came here. And I was interviewed by TF1. He asked me, and I asked him, why you're here? He said, no, I'm a journalist. I cannot say anything. But I look at his eyes. He was very passionate to the people of the Yellow Jackets.
Mm-hmm. So do you have any recommendations for investors who are listening? What should they be doing with their money? I asked you a moment ago, can this just go on for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 years, it's kind of this game of sort of kicking the can down the road. Eventually, everything falls to a real economy. It has to. It can't go on with this fake smoke and mirrors economy forever, but it probably can go on for a lot longer. Maybe not. I don't know.
This is now with my books and what I'm telling the people. I'm an economist, actually. I study economy, and I look at all the world, travel all the places. For me, it's become very, very simple. A lot of people are not happy, and they have to go to vote because the voting is your only right. And the referendum is the key to change this system. So, for example, in Taiwan, we have the referendum, and they can change the policies. In America, in the London, in France, it's very, very difficult. Only referendum we've seen is Brexit, 49 versus 51, and the country is now in the talk forever. And this energy and money spent looks to me very, very funny from outsiders. So what we need to do is vote to the politicians, and ask them to speak up.
Okay, so then you believe that the politicians on the right have a better solution? Is that what you said? Or we have the right to vote? What were you saying? I didn't understand that.
Yeah. What I'm saying is like the musical, the cinema.
Right.
Basically, all politicians are too busy to talk every day about their case. They have no time traveling and see the world. And they don't get the real information, and the media is basically giving the awesome pictures, and there's no second opinions. So they don't know where the problem is. If you don't know the problem, just talking nice words and talk about the policy and constitution, nothing will change.
Right.
So basically, what we need today is to find the right politicians or right people to talk about this. Now, if you talk about the future, where to put the money, I'm not going to scare the people, but basically, you have to believe in what you put your money. The risk is getting higher and higher. That's, I believe, what is happening.
Talk to us a little bit about your career, if you would, and your incredible success. I mean, this meteoric rise in the business world that you've had over the years. What is Nobu Store? Is that like a Snapchat for digital documents? Is it kind of that idea?
Yeah, I came to this idea in 2000. I had the U.S. patents and many patents about this. Basically, when Amazon came with the Amazon bookstores, I said, no, I want to have the book immediately. So I had a patent. Basically, you can download digital documents and read immediately, and this is going to disappear. And before it disappears, you get the real book. So it's called a seamless delivery. And this is a kind of Snapchat ideas. So I decided to put it in the one example to show in the Nobu Store. Because Amazon, actually, this is my first time becoming an author. Today, the many authors has to pay the 50 to 70% of the income to Amazon. Yeah. So they make very little money for the authors.
Yeah. Amazon is just taking over the world, and they're crushing everybody. They're crushing their own sellers. They're destroying the retail business around the world. It's just too concentrated, the power, isn't it?
Yeah, it's called Amazon. It's not Amazon.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So why does the digital document blow up, if you will, after it's downloaded? What's the point of that? My
idea was that in the early stage, you have a digital, and it stays there forever. So that the actually cost to maintain the data is become very, very expensive. So that if it can be vanished, and so that we have a real information, how do we decide how to control the data? So that was my ideas. But actually, in terms of the books and the media and journalism, I think if it's going to vanish in certain times, people can talk more real stories, and they are confident that they can send to somebody, and after see it, it's like comics.
Right. This would be very good as a way to communicate, and in an era of government oppression, especially, or to circumvent the government. I mean, so that people can have the right to communicate what they want and not without fear of reprisal. I could definitely see an application there, right?
Oh, yeah, there are many applications, and I believe that we are now able to control the data in our hands, not by the data to be controlled by the Google or the Amazons. And it's very scary, actually, even in the China, or even now in the other countries. All over the world, they stolen the data and sell the data. I think it's very, very bad.
Yeah, I think I've said many times that I think Google and Facebook are the two scariest companies on earth. I mean, we all love and use their products, probably. I know I do, but they scare the heck out of me. Any company that controls 60 to 70% of the search results on planet Earth, that's just insane. They either need to make their algorithms public and open source so people can see why they're seeing the results they see, or they need to be regulated like utilities, or they need to be busted up under antitrust laws, or maybe all three of those things.
Yeah, but that's happened since 1999 of dot-com boom. But now, also I look at the other side token. I'm fighting with all big institutions and the banks and the politicians, whoever it is, since they have they put this the fake news or a lot of the one-side opinions. It's now easy for us also to search and build up our theories and our story, because there are public facts they wrote in. Whether it's right or wrong, it cannot be disappeared. So we have to be smart enough to understand how to understand the real information and the fake news.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Any tips on that? How we can understand that? It's not that easy.
Oh, that's the experience.
Just life experience. Good. Take us back and tell us about your career. How did you start out? How did you get into shipping? And what happened with RBS sinking your company in the financial crisis there?
Oh, this is a long story. Please read my books.
Okay.
I'm writing the one book. Second book is called Dynasty Escape. It's talk about the Taiwan, the political parties, the move the money from Taiwan to outside. And the third book is called The Government from the East and West. And it's actually talk about what behind the financial crisis. And more to come. And it's
and you cannot get these on Amazon, right? They're not available on Amazon.
No, I don't want to go to Amazon because it's easy to Amazon, but I want people go to Nobu store, and we are still making the more for the people available, easy to use. But it's very, very interesting to pay a little bit of money and read it because since it's going to banish it, people have to read it as soon as possible.
As soon as possible. Yeah. Well,
so this is a very good education system.
Actually, that's another good point about all these tech companies. You know, the censorship is just huge. I know that Prager University is suing YouTube and Google, the parent company. But everybody, you need to go to nobu.store, right? Nobu.store, not .com, .store, right?
Nobu.store, that's it.
Nobu, so www.nobu.store. Okay?
Correct.
That's where they're available. Good. I want to make sure people know that. Okay, your career, just in a nutshell. Of course, the books are available.
So I'm very creative. So sometimes people don't understand me. So now I'm working for the new technologies, is increasing the organic fish and collecting the plastic on the oceans. And I think my invention will solve these problems with a very limited cost. Because this is two big issues in the earth, that we need good fish to eat and plastic to be collected so that the fish will not eat plastic and we are safe.
Okay, but that's what you're working on now. How do you start a shipping company?
It's such my father, it's a small family business. And
you
I grew up with my father. That's how I learned. So I know I think I was prey, and I know the ships very well, but most people don't know how much I know. That's
Sure. Okay. That's good. So it was the shipping business, then Nobu store, and now the new projects you mentioned, right? Are those I'm sure you're doing other things, but are those the basics?
It's correct. I think we are lucky to build up the good business, but then we became the target because, his family business was actually the targeted, like Mr. Madoff, like other people. And if you look at the billionaires was targeted by the several banks in the financial crisis, and now it's some of them coming up one by one. They never targeted the professional, the hedge funds, or the people because they'll find out. So I was outsider. That's why I look at my outsider. You can find out interesting things.
Yeah. And the documentary, The Outsider, as well. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
Nobu, do you want to give out any other websites, or is it just nobu.store?
Yeah, there's my website called Nobu Su in Twitter, and sometimes I put my opinions. But the ones, my book is very, very become 1,500 pages in total. So most now the economic professors like to read it because all this the crisis, or I don't want to say crisis, but the last 10 years, so much money was printed, but the economy never get better. There must be the reasons because you printed so much money, why we cannot benefit it? And the people just complain, but actually there was a reasons. So please read my books.
Good stuff. Well, Nobu Su, that's Nobu and SU, and that's where you can find that personal website as well with opinions and so forth. Thank you so much for joining us today, and good luck in the lawsuit. Please circle back with us and let us know how that turns out, okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for listening. Please be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss any episodes. Be sure to check out the show's specific website and our general website, hartmanmedia.com, for appropriate disclaimers and terms of service. Remember that guest opinions are their own, and if you require specific legal or tax advice or advice in any other specialized area, please consult an appropriate professional. And we also very much appreciate you reviewing the show. Please go go to iTunes or Stitcher Radio or whatever platform you're using and write a review for the show. We would very much appreciate that. And be sure to make it official and subscribe so you do not miss any episodes. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode.